The story starts off on a dark and stormy night where three kids are caught in the act of graffiti by Rain, the city's military police force. One kid gets tased, but the other two manage to escape. Later on, we meet Peter Parker, who is now an old man, gets fired from his job at a flower shop for messing up an order, and as he walks out, he gets knocked over by one of the fleeing kids from earlier. The police officer sees the opportunity to apprehend the kid and starts beating him in public when Peter tries to intervene. He gets elbowed in the face. Meanwhile, the city of New York is preparing to celebrate a decade free of supervillain crime with a new laser defense system called the Web, which will be activated soon. Waters announces that he's repealing the electoral process. His plan is to stay on as mayor and ensure that the Web is activated without any problems. Peter wakes up from a dream about a young Mary Jane, only to be interrupted by a knock on the door. It's none other than J. Jonah Jameson, who starts rambling incessantly. Frustrated, Parker slams the door on him, but not before Jonah tells him to open a package he's been holding onto for a long time. Outside, Jonah takes out his anger on a car with his walker, attracting the attention of the Rain officers who starts beating him up. Inside the package, Peter finds his old camera and a fabric wrapped around it. As he unwraps it, he puts on the mask that was wrapped around the camera, jumps into action to take on the Rain officers. But masks are outlawed in the city, and Peter soon finds himself in the spotlight. Peter effortlessly takes down the officers with his superior strength and agility. Jonah informs Peter that the city needs his help once again. But instead of accepting the request, Peter shows his disapproval by punching Jonah in the face and walking away. However, upon discovering that Spider-Man has returned, Mayor Waters is left puzzled and seeks answers. His assistant, Sax, suggests activating the Web ahead of schedule. Sax then takes Waters to meet some new volunteers for the Rain. Although Waters is hesitant about this idea, Sax assures him that these 6 soldiers will have explosives implanted in them to ensure they follow orders. If they successfully complete their mission, they will be set free outside the city wall. One of the kids from earlier is reading a newspaper that Jonah had been distributing, even though it's illegal. Suddenly, a Rain soldier confiscates the newspaper and slaps the child. Witnessing this, a boy named Casey tells her that he knows someone who knows how to fight against the Rain soldiers. Following him, Casey ends up at an old church where J. Jonah Jameson is giving a speech about the city's corruption and how people must stand up for what's right. While Jameson speaks, Casey hacks into the city's video screens to broadcast his message to everyone. Jameson urges the people to hunt down Spider-Man and gives out Peter's address. Fearing for his safety, Peter packs his things to leave the city. But as he looks out the window, he sees a growing crowd and the Rain troops fire a bazooka at him. Peter, in his Spider-Man costume, and is ready to fight. Casey attempts to continue broadcasting, but he gets stabbed by Kraven the Hunter. The 6 villains are the volunteers from earlier who are sent to take down Spider-Man. Kraven manages to take Spider-Man mask as a trophy. Mayor Waters activates a web that traps everyone in the city. Just as the villains are about to finish Spider-Man off, the mechanical arms swoop in to save the day. Peter wakes up in front of Mary Jane's grave after being abducted by Rain officer. Jameson is brought before Mayor Waters, who pulls out a knife and threatens him. He turns the tables and thrusts a knife in Waters and then Sax. But the knife reveals a black substance inside of Sax. Peter finds himself back in the cemetery. While there, he hears a message left by Dr. Octopus. In his final moments, Doc Ock ordered his mechanical arms to seek out and give them to Spider-Man. As Peter mourns Mary Jane, he apologizes for her death caused by his radioactive blood. She was poisoned by his radioactivity and her body slowly became riddled with cancer. His fluids killed her. Her loving him killed her. Meanwhile, Jameson demands answers from Waters, who refuses to provide any information. Sax reveals his true identity and kills most of the people in the room. Waters protests that this wasn't part of the deal. During a news report, an explosion is witnessed and black goo falls from the tower. And Jonah asks Waters to take action. But he refuses, claiming that what is happening now will protect the city more than any other measure ever could. As the girl walks down the street, she's confronted by the black mass. But she doesn't back down and uses the church bell to repel the creature. She then rallies the citizens to fight for their home. Meanwhile, Peter finds his old costume in Mary Jane's coffin and prepares to fight. It then revealed that the sex is the venom. The Sandman and his group of officers approach the girl and demand she stop ringing the bell, but she refuses, knowing that the sound keeps the venom symbiote at bay. She takes off her mask, and the Sandman realizes that he is looking into the eyes of his long-lost daughter. She turns herself to stone, and the troops fire at her, shattering her to pieces. Sensing Spider-Man's presence, Venom orders Electro to shock the building, but Spider-Man easily takes him out. Hydro Man shows up to help, but Spider-Man trips Electro, causing him to crash into Hydro Man. The Scorpion then appears, but Spider-Man effortlessly kicks him out the window. As Sandman fights the symbiote, he instructs his daughter to focus on reassembling herself, but he soon realizes that she had died in his arms. After defeating Mysterio, Spider-Man continues to battle the remaining villains. After defeating Mysterio and Kraven with ease, Spider-Man finally confronts Venom, who complains about being abandoned by Spider-Man. As Spider-Man battles his way through the symbiote army, he then runs to the roof. On the roof, Spider-Man fights off the army of symbiotes again, but then he is joined by Sandman, who hands him a detonator. Using it, Spider-Man sets off the explosives implanted in the villains, which destroys the building and eradicates all the symbiotes. In the next panel, we see that J. Jonah Jameson back on the news and the supervillains are back once again. A mysterious figure then saves a restaurant owner, and he is then spotted by Mary Jane's grave, leaving a flower. He says, "I'll see you one day, MJ. Until then, I have responsibilities." Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.